All my life, people told me that I could pass for white. For many years, I didn't think very deeply about what that even means, to pass. I just know that anytime someone said it to me, no matter who was saying it, they were always saying it in a way that meant that it was a good thing and that I was fortunate to be able to pass. As I got older, I started exploring the origins of race and racism. One of the most important books that I have ever read is Dr. Dorothy Roberts' Fatal Invention: How Science, Politics, and Big Business Recreate Race in the 21st Century. I highly recommend you read this book if you want to know how we all came to believe in race and why all of us still have so much work to do to dismantle racism. Dr. Roberts' book introduced me to the Takao, Ozawa, and Bhagat Singh Thind cases versus the United States Supreme Court. So since the Naturalization Act of 1790, the only way a person could become a naturalized U.S. citizen, meaning after they immigrated here from another country, the only way they could become a citizen was if they could prove that they were white. Now, a lot of people challenged this rule in a lot of different cases, but all the way through to the 1920s, this rule still stood, that in order to become a naturalized citizen in the United States, you had to prove you were white. But two men in the 1920s, Takao Ozawa and Bhagat Singh Thind, they both challenged this rule, and their cases ended up in the Supreme Court right around the same time. So the first case was Ozawa's case. The Supreme Court determined in his case that he was definitely not white because scientists said that only people with heritage from the Caucasus Mountain region were actually white. And that's why today some people still use the term Caucasian. So the court said that because scientists say that he's not white, he could never become a U.S. citizen. But then, literally, just 3 months later, Bhagat Singh Thind, his case comes up before the Supreme Court. Now, he is confident in his case because he's wealthy, he served in the military in the U.S., and he was from the region that makes up part of the Caucasus Mountain region. He knew that he was going to win this case. He was sure that he would get his citizenship, but... And remember, this is just 3 months later after the Supreme Court said that the scientists were the reasons that they decided that Ozawa was not white. They instead said now that science is no longer reliable, and instead they were going to rely on the common man who knows that he is not white. Neither the Supreme Court nor anyone else has ever been able to define what white is. And that's because it's a lie. So after reading Dr. Roberts' book, I continue to learn more and listen to scholars and historians and friends and family and their experiences. Books like Roxanne Dunbar Ortiz's An Indigenous People's History of the United States. And Ian Haney Lopez. He examines all of the racial prerequisite cases in the United States, all of the times that people had to try to prove that they were white in order to gain access to resources, and every single decision is predicated on a lie. So now, when someone tells me I could pass, I speak clearly and very firmly about the lie on which passing was predicated. I ask them and of myself to deconstruct that lie of whiteness in order to help us all get more free. A long time ago, I co-wrote a screenplay based on Nella Larsen's book, Passing. I felt an affinity to the characters based on all the messaging that I had received all my life. Now, as I sit down to watch this film, this beautiful, moving, and important film, I'm carrying all of that weight with me, the personal experience, all I've learned from friends and family and scholars and historians. I am so glad that we have this film now as another resource to encourage us to continue to learn and grow. I am so glad that the film was made now with all of the context and understanding and knowledge that I have now that I didn't have when I wrote it. If white identity is a lie, then so is Passing. It's not something to be proud of, but also we can't deny its existence. Instead, we can learn its history, understand the ways it is used to cause harm, and do everything we can to stay committed to dismantling racism for always and forever.